for Monday. So back Monday, September 13th, 2021, this meeting is being live streamed in Zoom. The City Council Chamber of the Central Law and Service Center is available for in-person attendees. For current directors, all in-person attendees must wear a properly fitted mask and remain physically distant. Masks are available as needed. Please allow one person to speak at a time. I will call every member to make sure you have an opportunity to ask any questions. I will now ask our deputy city clerk, Secretary of the roll call, please.
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes. Here.
Deputy Mayor Broersma,
Here.
Councillor Farmer,
Here.
Councillor Beeler,
Here.
Councillor Restucci,
Here.
Councillor Hicks,
Here.
Councillor Hart,
Here.
Interim City Manager Alba,
Here.
Interim Finance and Admin Services Director Horner,
Here.
Fire Chief Anderson,
I'm here.
Police Chief Escalera,
Excused.
Public Work Director Fisher,
I'm here.
and Deputy City Clerk Rangel, I am here.
And we have an addition of Mike Shuttleworth.
Thank you for the roll call. We do have a forum today, so we'll start with our invocation. Is anyone in the audience who is here to do our invocation for today? Seeing none, we're going to do our pledge of allegiance. If you want to join, please stand and join the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone. Next, we have our public comment section. If there's anyone in the audience here to do public comment, please step up to the podium, state your name and city of residence, and let us hear from you.
Not a big rush, huh? Yes,
Oh, yes.
I mean,
I'm sorry, I'm
no.
I'm supposed to be timing and I'm not ready.
Partly.
Okay.
I'm here to speak about noise. And the noise is part and parcel of the problem, as I see it, with traffic and with violation of the sanctity and the peace and the comfort of people in their homes. I happen to live at the bottom of Stackhouse Street, a one-block speedway that connects Crescent with Edison. And the amount of noise that's generated is phenomenal. With noise comes speed. I'm familiar with that paradigm because I'm a Harley rider. And I know the potato is invigorating and it's self-fulfilling, but it's also, it drives a problem. And so if you have any intelligence at all, you don't do that in the city limits. You certainly don't do that in the residential neighborhood, and you certainly don't do it in the middle of the night. But evidently, those that think it's okay to make noise with their automobiles have allowed that to get out of hand. And it becomes a fueling process. And I found a ordinance that I thought was very interesting. And it was only since August 26, 2013. And talking about how the noise disturbs, injures, and endangers the comfort, repose, health, peace, and safety of others. The noise disturbs, injures, and endangers the comfort. And boy, we're a long ways away from getting a handle on this, I think, my humble opinion. Noise is a real easy thing to ignore, but when you live right on the sound belt, then the noise becomes exceedingly noticeable. I'm not talking about just a little bit of noise. I'm talking about an unbearable amount of noise. Did you notice that? I'm not trying to do it as a cheap grandstand trick. I'm saying that the noise itself is a problem. And were it not a problem, then there would not have been all the trouble and effort that went to getting a ordinance and a proposed solution to the problem.
Thank you very much for your comments today. We will take that into consideration, council, and hope you get some relief from that noise because it can be unbearable. Thank you. Anyone else in the audience wish to give testimony today? For the comment hearing? Is there anyone in our Zoom meeting that would like to do public comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and did we get anything else?
I'm sorry, I can't tell if you guys can hear me or not.
Yes, we can hear you. You just say your name and say your residence, and we'll give you 3 minutes to give us your public comment.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Lindsay Kerfman from Sunnyside. I am here representing the Sunnyside Rotary Club. I wanted to give a short report on the Lighted Farm Implement Parade and the downtown Christmas market. We have received a lot of positive feedback from the community about these events. A couple of items to highlight. The downtown Christmas market was a wonderful addition to the events of the weekend. Most of the vendors sold out of all of their items, and they're excited to come to the next event that will be in Sunnyside. We noticed that with this addition, we saw an uptick of visitors to Sunnyside, and we hope we can continue to build these events to bring more visitors to Sunnyside more often. I would like to thank the city council members and the city of Sunnyside, the Sunnyside Police Department, and the Port of Sunnyside for all of their continued support. Every single staff member of these organizations helped to make the events go smoothly. We are supported by many local businesses and people, and all of the support is appreciated. The Sunnyside Rotary Club is proud to organize these events every year, and we hope that we can continue to build upon these events and other events to grow Sunnyside's economy and tourism. We will be taking a break for the holidays, but I encourage every city council member to visit one of our meetings that take place at 12 p.m. on Mondays in January. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those that stated for the great events or those battles who were able to attend, and thanks for that thing. Anyone else in our Zoom meeting that would like to give public comment today? You're none, we did not get anything emailed in or mailed in, is that correct, Madam?
That's correct.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to our next agenda item, which is your consent agenda. Council, is there anyone wishing to pull an item from our consent agenda or any items for questioning? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Mayor, I would like to pull
check number 17187. I just need to stay consistent. This is a check for $2,200.70 to Martin Casey. I believe, and I've stated it several times, and I will state it again, this is a gift of public funds, in my opinion, and we are doing the wrong thing.
Local item number 17187, for the amount of $1,200.70, payable to Mr. Former City Manager Martin Casey. Is there anyone else wishing to pull an item from our consent agenda? Okay. What is your desire on the consent agenda, minus item, 17187?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Deputy Mayor Bergman, second by Councilor Hicks, to approve the consent agenda as presented, minus item 17187. Check number 17187. Is there any good on this item? You know the date, can we get roll call, please, Madam Deputy City Clerk?
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Borisma,
Yes.
Councilor Restucci,
Yes.
Councilor Beeler, Councilor Beeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Farmer,
Yes.
Councilor Hart.
Yes.
Mayor, you have 7 yes and 0 no votes.
Thank you. The consent agenda as amended has been approved. Up next, we will have our check number 17187 for $2,270, payable to our former city manager, Martin Casey. Councilor Farmer, you have the floor.
I stated my reason this time, I've stated my reason for the previous meetings. My thinking and my thoughts have not changed at all. This is a gift to public funds, in my opinion, and we are doing the wrong thing by making this statement.
Council, any other comments on this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am, go right ahead.
this, if I'm not mistaken, isn't this about the last check in the series of checks going to Mr. Casey?
What is it?
Isn't this the last of the checks for,
His last paycheck would be November 25th. I don't know what the date of this check is. I'm sorry. I would have to look that up.
no, I'm just,
It is the last payment for Casey.
then I make a motion that we approve it.
This is Councilor Restucci. I second that.
Motion by Councilor Hart, second by Councilor Stucci to approve, check number 17187 for $2,270 to Martin Casey. Is there any debate on this item? Seeing no debate, can I get a roll call, please?
Mayor Guerrero, Mayor Guerrero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Borisma,
Yes.
Councilor Restucci,
Yes.
Councilor Beeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Shh.
Councilor Farmer,
Yes. I mean, no, I'm sorry.
Okay. No. And Councilor Hart.
Yes.
Okay, Mayor, you have 6 yes and 1 no vote.
Thank you, motion passes. All right, Council, up next, we have our active agenda, which our first item is our executive session for 20 minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to change the agenda and have this come last. Reason being is we're gonna, as far as I'm concerned, disrespect the people who have come here, make them go outside and wait in their cars. till we have this executive session, or go home and then come back. I think out of courtesy to them, we should postpone this till after the meeting is the last agenda item.
Madam, do we have a city attorney going to be on the call with this, or is it just us?
Actually, it's just us, so if we move it, that would be fine.
Council, is there any objection to moving the executive for the end of the agenda?
I just think that if there's any action, is there any action to be taken?
There will be no action to follow.
Okay, well, then I have no objection to moving it to the tail end of our agenda.
All right, in that case, seeing no objection, we'll move this to a very last item on our active agenda. All right, council, so up next we have our second item, which is the election of mayor for 2022. Consider selecting the mayor for 2022. Madam City Manager.
At our last meeting, it was brought forward by Councilor Restucci that we should select a mayor so that we are did not have a 10-day period when we had no mayor. There was no final decision, so I left it on for tonight with the council's decision whether to act or not.
All right, council, we'll vote on this for comments on this item and see what your desire is, and we'll start with our deputy mayor, Borja.
Thank you, sir. So I'm sure others also, but I've been thinking about this a great deal in the last few days. Both sides of the question have a very good point, with Mr. Restucci having a highest elected official. I'm sure if something were to happen in the city, staff would handle everything the way they always do quite well. But the state likes to have highest elected officials in an emergency, so I think that's a fantastic thing to make sure that we cover. But Mr. Farmer also has a very good point in that in 2022, we will have seated at least one new council member who has every right and should have every expectation of being able to participate in the vote for who's going to be the mayor. So I guess my idea, somebody had brought it up, it wasn't me, but that we choose a pro tem mayor for the 10 days from January the 1st to January the 10th. We would have a highest elected official, but then we would vote for a mayor for a 2-year term on our first meeting on the 10th.
Councilor Restucci.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, although I agree with the deputy mayor, I disagree in one point, and that is it wasn't that we had to have a highest elected official. It's the term mayor that's used in state statute. It doesn't say deputy mayor or assistant mayor or mayor pro tem. It says mayor. And that's my concern, is there are a number of state statutes, including 2 that were just recently passed that deal with law enforcement, that require the mayor to authorize something, not the deputy mayor, the assistant mayor, or the mayor pro tem. And there is no continuity of government law in the state statute, which means that just because we have a deputy mayor doesn't mean the deputy mayor automatically has the same rights as the mayor. I had to prove that to council back in 2008. And I don't want us to run into that situation again. So really, council, I don't want the job, council, and I'm really just want to make sure that we're covered. That if something happens on January 2nd, that we have a mayor in our city.
Councilor Bueller.
No questions or comments.
Councilor Hicks.
I say we just appoint our deputy mayor, because that's what the job of the deputy mayor is if the mayor can't fulfill or be able to do the meeting, the deputy mayor is to step up. So let's make our deputy mayor our mayor for the 10 days and then still do our vote on normal.
Councilor Farmer.
I kind of agree with Deputy Mayor Borisman, Council Member Hicks. Although I do not see the need in it, but if it makes things cleaner, I would have no problem electing a temporary or a pro tem mayor for the first few days in January till the council can meet together as a whole and elect a mayor.
Councilor Hart.
Well, I really have no objection to appointing the mayor, deciding amongst ourselves who the next mayor ought to be. Because I would think well, I'm not sure about that. I shouldn't say that. But I do kind of feel like it is a disservice to a newly elected councilman not to be able to be included in that vote, because it is an important vote to decide who's going to be the next mayor. And I think in terms of the 10 days, different, you know, because Mayor Guerrero will be mayor until the 31st of December. That gives us a couple of days into December, 10 days total before our next meeting. I really hesitate to think that I just don't want to borrow trouble. But we could just have that vote at the next meeting. I'd just like to postpone this until the January meeting.
All right, Council.
Mayor?
So it sounds like the people individuals, sounds like they
Mayor?
want to do you can answer, Council, just give me 1 second. It sounds like, I hear a few people who are interested in having a mayor for 10 days. We'll probably be the shortest mayor change we've had in the city of Sunnyside that I remember, I guess. So I personally don't have a horse in this race, so I would refer to council for what it is that you want to do. But I'm hearing about 3 people who are interested in having at least a mayor for 10 days. And then at the next regular meeting in January, elect a mayor for the next 2 years. So that's not what I heard, but Council, you go right ahead, the other one.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir, go right ahead.
Thank you, sir. I just want to remind council that this is not disrespectful in any way to the new members of council that are coming on. They have no authority to act yet. And what we're asking for is just a placeholder until January. There is nothing in the law that stops us from coming together in January and holding another vote for mayor. I mean, if council wanted to, they could hold a vote for mayor in June if they wanted to. If they after 3 months they didn't like the mayor that was in there. The statute says every 2 years the council has to come together and do the job, but it doesn't say that you can't add additional rules in your rules of procedure. And that's why I'm saying, council, this is on us. We make this rule here. The legislature was free to give us the reign to do this. Now we just make the decision ourselves.
All right, Council, any additional comments on selection for 2022? Hearing none, what is your desire on this item?
I move to make deputy mayor mayor for the 10 days until our first meeting in January.
I second that.
All right, motion by Councilor Hicks, seconded by Councilor Beeler to make the deputy mayor mayor for the first 10 days in January, and then hold elections at that time for a 2-year mayor.
That sounds fair.
Is there any debate on this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Is there, is not?
are we talking debate now?
Yes,
on the
it's
motion?
available.
I'm sorry, I can't quite hear you through your mask and the mic, but I think that this is a good solution to the situation, and we can look at it again in January. So I'm in favor of this.
Okay. Any additional debate on this item? Any more additional debate, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Borisma,
Yes.
Councilor Restucci,
Yes.
Councilor Beeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Farmer,
Yes.
Councilor Hart.
Yes.
Mayor, you have 7 yes and 0 no votes.
Sounds good. Motion passes. We have our mayor for, the beginning of 2022. Thank you, Council. Up next, we have, which is the preliminary class, code update. Consider adopting the tax ordinance amending SNC chapter 16.28 to update the Sunnyside subdivision code. Madam City Manager.
I will pass this over to Mike Shuttleworth.
Thank you, council members. I presented this last week at the workshop of the council. What we're doing is making some changes to the municipal code, specifically the subdivision portion of it, and for processing of subdivisions. As I stated last week, which is most of our minor changes or consistency changes or consistent state law or other sections. You know, the big things or who signed the final plat, those type of things. And our recommendation, the planning commission recommendation was to approve it. The city attorney has reviewed it and approved the S2 form. So we're presenting it to the council tonight for your final decision on the proposed ordinance.
Thank you for that. Council members, any questions or comments on this item? We'll start with, Councilor, Stucci.
No questions or comments, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Wheeler,
No questions or comments.
Councilor Hicks,
No questions or comments.
Councilor Farmer,
No questions.
Councilor Hart,
No
Councilor
questions.
Hart, comment?
No questions.
Deputy Mayor Barca,
I have no questions either, sir.
and neither do I. So what is your desire this time, council?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Second it.
All right. Motion by Councilor Hicks, second by Councilor Wheeler, to adopt the attached ordinance amending SNC chapter 15.28 to update the sentence subdivision code. Is there any debate on this item? Seeing no debate, can we get a roll call, please? Roll call vote.
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Broersma,
Yes.
Councilor Restucci,
Yes.
Councilor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Farmer,
Yes.
Councilor Hart.
Yes.
Mayor, you have 7 yes and 0 no votes.
Motion passes. Thank you, council. Next, we have our, Sixth Street Improvement Project Fuel Tax Agreement. Consider authorizing the interim city manager to enter into a fuel tax agreement with the Washington State Transportation Improvement Board to conduct the Sixth Street Improvement. Madam City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Guerrero. I will pass this over to Public Works Director Fisher.
Okay, so, in August of this year, you authorized the city manager to, submit application for TI.
Talking to them.
There was actually 2 grants, one was for sidewalk and one was, reservation. We were actually successful in getting the sidewalk grant, the amount of $327,240. This agenda item tonight is a fuel tax agreement that goes along with that, because that grant actually comes from, gas tax, which is through TIB, through the fuel tax agreement. So tonight what we're looking for is to authorize, the city manager to execute the fuel tax agreement with, Washington State TIB, offset the grant match for the Sixth Street.
All right, council, we're gonna go down the list for questions or comments, and we will start with Councilor Wheeler.
No questions or comments.
Councilor Hicks,
No questions or comments.
Councilor Farmer,
No questions.
Councilor Hart,
No questions, but please, people, can you speak into your mics? I can barely hear you. So I'm sure the other people out there can't hear you as well either. I have no comments on this particular resolution.
Councilor Stucci, can you hear us okay, or is it just me that might, the speakers on Councilor Hart's,
Weird.
Yeah, Miss Hart is correct, Mr. Mayor. You guys do sound muffled. But I think that's the microphone and the mask, sir. That's the only thing I can think
If
of.
they put them a little closer, perhaps.
I'll speak a little bit louder, that way you can hear me a little better. Thank you for that feedback.
I have no
Deputy
questions,
Mayor Hart?
Mr. Mayor. No questions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
I have no questions either, sir.
And I have no questions either, so what is your desire, Mr. Council?
Move to approve. This is Councilor Restucci.
Second,
Okay, motion by Councilor Stucci, second by Councilor Hart to authorize the interim city manager to enter into a fuel tax agreement with the Washington State Transportation Improvement Board to construct the Sixth Street improvement. Is there any debate on this item? Hearing no debate, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Borisma,
Yes.
Counselor Restucci,
Yes.
Counselor Beeler,
Yes.
Counselor Hicks,
Yes.
Counselor Farmer,
Yes.
Thank
Counselor
you.
Hart.
Yes, thank you.
Mayor, you have 7 yes and 0 no votes.
Motion passes. Thank you, council. Up next, we have our 2021 budget amendment number 4. Consider adopting an ordinance amending the 2021 budget. Madam City Manager.
Woohoo.
For the rest of the meeting, it is the Miss Jameson Horror Show for our next 3 items, so if you would like to proceed.
Sure. So the first of the 3 items is the budget amendment number 4 for fund year 2021. So this last budget amendment of the year always ties up all of the funds, spending, and revenues for the entire year. So the actual detailed items on it are not extensive, but it does balance out the funds to correct any budgeting errors or any other such items. So the main 2 funds that have significant adjustments in the garbage fund and the stormwater fund, and they just appear to have been budgeted a little lower than they probably should have based on the rates that were passed. That's the only issue for this. So we'll be increasing the budget amount by $386,251 for fund year 2021.
Okay, council, we'll put on this for questions or comments, and we will start with Councilor Hicks.
Is this leave us in the green or are we in the red now?
We are all in the green this year.
Councilor Farmer,
No questions.
Councilor Hart,
No,
Councilor
question.
Farmer.
I'm sorry, no questions.
Deputy Mayor Brown,
I have no questions.
Councilor Restucci,
No questions, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Beeler.
No questions.
I don't have any questions either, so what is your desire on this agenda item?
Move to approve.
Second?
Okay, motion by Councilor Hicks, second by Councilor Beeler to adopt an ordinance amending the 2021 budget. Is there any debate on this item? Hearing no debate, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Borisma,
Yes.
Counselor Restucci,
Yes.
Counselor Beeler,
Yes.
Counselor Hicks,
Yes.
Counselor Farmer,
Yes.
Counselor Hart.
Yes,
Mayor, you have 7 yes and 0 no votes.
Thank you, council. Motion passes. Up next, we have our 2022 classification and compensation schedule. Consider adopting an ordinance setting the 2022 classification and compensation schedule. Madam City Manager.
Again, I'll pass this over to Ms. Horner for explanation.
Every year, as part of the budget process, the council will adopt the salary and compensation ordinance that backs up the numbers that are proposed in the 2022 budget. This salary and compensation schedule matches everything that we've talked about up to this point in the budget process, with the addition of 2 dispatch positions based on the approval of the interlocal agreement with the city of Toppenish that you guys did at the recent meeting. So those 2 positions have been added to this schedule. But otherwise, the items are all, the increases are based on the CBAs, and for non-represented staff, it's the average of the CBA.
All right, council members, questions or comments, and we'll start with Councilor Farmer.
No questions at this time.
Councilor Hart,
No questions.
Deputy Mayor Bertha,
No, this feels like something we do every year about this time.
Councilor Rasucci,
No questions, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Wheeler,
No questions.
Councilor Hicks.
No questions.
I do have a question. On this compensation schedule, I did see that 2.6 COLA increase. Is that something that council approved in the past, or is this the increase that we are approving tonight?
This is the same, increase that was presented since we started presenting budget this year. I believe that the city manager spoke with you guys about it at the initial budget meeting that was held in Prosser. That there hasn't been a standard COLA, built in for non-represented employees. And so this year, she took the average of all of the collective bargaining agreements that had been ratified and averaged those to come up with the cost of living increase for non-represented staff.
Yes, but I don't remember us doing this in the prior years. I remember doing it after some negotiations of, unions, and then we did the average afterwards. But something would be a little proactive this time around in doing the, increase
Well,
at the beginning of the year.
And if I may, interrupt, it was actually decided by council in 2018, I believe, that you would authorize non-represented in the future to always have the, average of the settled agreements, in continuum without having to come back before the council. Mostly because we were not getting COLAs at all, and non-represented, and we were seeing compression, where some of our employees were actually making more than their supervisor.
I do recall that we talked about that, so, I just want to make it clear that tonight we are authorizing an increase, which is the cost of living allowance for non-represented employees. I'm not disputing the increase, I'm just want to clarify, that is the case tonight. We're not, just approving what was historically there, we're authorizing an increase for non-represented employees. All right, thank you for that answer. Council, what is your desire on this item?
Move
I will move
to,
to approve.
excuse me, I'll second then.
All right, motion by Deputy Mayor Bertha, second by Councilor Hart to adopt an ordinance setting the 2022 classification and compensation schedule. Is there any debate on this item? Hearing no debate, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bertha,
Yes.
Councilor Rasucci,
Yes.
Councilor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Farmer,
Yes.
and Councilor Hart.
Yes.
Okay, Mayor, you have 7 yes and 0 no votes.
Thank you, council. Motion passes. Up next, we have our 2022 budget adoption. Consider adopting an ordinance approving the budget for the fund year 2022. Madam City Manager.
Again, Ms. Horner, if you'd like to present on this item, thank you.
The preliminary budget has been presented to council and available for public inspection since the statutory requirement of November 1st of 2021. The city has held the 2 required public hearings, on this budget, in addition to the public hearing for the ad valorem, tax for the revenue portion. And so this budget that we are presenting is the same as you had at your most recent hearing with one change. And again, that is due to the city of Toppenish interlocal agreement that was passed for dispatch services. So this budget does now reflect the increased, salary for 2 additional dispatchers and the increased revenue for the dispatch fees that we'll be collecting from the city of Toppenish. So the total expenditures, that we would ask that you appropriate for 2022 is $37,579,711.
Thank you. Up next, we'll go ahead and, have questions or comments, and we'll start with Councilor Hart.
I think this is a budget that is going to be doable for us in the coming year. I think everything's pretty well balanced, and considering the revenues that we have coming in, I think we can we have a good start for next year. So I'm in favor of this, of passing this budget.
Deputy Mayor Burnham?
Sir, so first of all, thanks everyone for putting the work in on this. I know it's a colossal effort every year to put this together. You received the rewards of your hard work this past year with a real clean audit and all the recognition that goes along with that. So, as I read through this, I didn't see anything that was alarming. Revenues are projected to be consistent with the budget, and at this point, I'm feeling pretty good about it. So, yeah, I think you've done a good job.
Councilor Suchi?
I would agree with my colleagues. This is a good budget. We need to pass it. Thank you, sir.
Councilor Wheeler?
It's the best budget I've ever worked on. I think we should pass it.
Councilor Hicks?
I'd just like to say thanks to the staff for all the effort put in. I think it's good.
Councilor Farmer?
I too would like to thank the staff for all the work that, was put in. I know there's a lot of difficult decisions made. I do have some concerns, and I've voiced them in the past, and I'll voice them again. I'm concerned about funding. I think there's 3 supervisor positions. I'm concerned about that. Our revenues look good, but the economy, who knows what the economy is going to do in the next year. And I'm concerned about that. If we go ahead and pass this budget, these positions are automatically funded, and then they could be automatically hired. Is that correct, without any vote from the council?
After this budget passes, those positions will go out for recruitment. That is for 2022.
Sorry, I couldn't hear.
After this budget passes, those positions will go out for recruitment to be hired in 2022.
Okay. And I'm concerned about that. I really am. And I have some heartburn about it. Economy dumps, we haven't funded these positions in the past. I see no reason where we should fund them now. We can always do a budget amendment and fund them if the economy picks up and continues to go forward. I think sometimes, and some of the comments I get from public is we have too many supervisors and not enough workers. I would, if we're going to spend money for people, let's spend money for boots on the ground. I'm not saying that the supervisor positions aren't necessary and needed, but I think all you have to do is look around our city and we'll see lots of things that could be done a little bit better. And we just don't have the personnel to do it right now. So I would like to see maybe instead of supervisors, hire workers. I guess those are my thoughts.
Thank you. And, okay, I'm next. I like the budget overall. I think it was a good process to get it put together in front of us and for us to have input on the different, major categories of where to allocate some of these funds. I really appreciate the time and effort put obviously by the staff and department heads and trying to prioritize their path. I know, I don't think everyone got everything they wanted, otherwise the budget would be quite a bit larger. But I think it was a good compromise. And I'm happy with the product. I agree with Councilor Farmer. I do feel a little bit of angst with having, quite a few additional positions added this past year and obviously in this budget as well. But I think if the budget can support it without raising taxes for our citizens, I'm behind it. Council, what is your desire on this item?
Move to approve the 2022 budget.
Counselor Hart, second.
Okay, motion by Councilor Suchi, second by Councilor Hart to adopt an ordinance approving the budget for fund year 2022. Is there any debate on this item? Hearing no debate, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Broisma,
Yes.
Counselor Restucci,
Yes.
Counselor Beeler,
Yes.
Counselor Hicks,
Yes.
Counselor Farmer,
Reluctantly, yes.
I'm sorry, that was a yes, correct?
Yes, that was a yes, Madam City Clerk.
Okay, thank you. And Counselor Hart?
Yes.
Okay, so if I heard correctly, Mayor, you have 7 yes and 0 no votes?
Thank you very much. Motion passes. Okay, now we're gonna go back to our executive session, which is gonna consist of 20 minutes. RCW 42.30.110, parentheses 1, parentheses C. To consider the minimum price at which real estate will be offered for sale or lease when public knowledge regarding such considerations would cause a likelihood of decreased price. However, final action, selling or leasing public property shall be taken in a meeting open to the public. Okay, so now I will ask, the deputy city clerk to place our guests in the virtual waiting room and anyone present in the council chambers to please exit the building until the executive session has ended. How long do you need, deputy city clerk to get the, Zoom meeting organized? 2, 3 minutes?
I actually removed, I think who I needed to remove, and do you guys need me to remove myself so I can, maybe Elizabeth can take me out?
Okay, so we'll start this meeting in 1 minute at 7:18 p.m.
And I would ask if I could have, Public Works Director Fisher involved in this meeting as well. That's okay?
Is there any objection to Mr. Fisher attending? No? Okay. We're good?
Mr. Mayor, I want to send you an email with some questions that I was going to ask you after the meeting. You could just get back to me on one.
Okay.
Are you gonna need me? No? No. Merry Christmas, everybody.
And we could, I think we stopped the pause recording, is that right?
Yes.
We pause the recording, and then we come into